Hello and welcome to the Westworld Morning After Show. I'm Patrick.
I'm Lynn. And I'm Caitlin.
And we're all editors at CNET and big fans of the show Westworld. So today we're going to talk about Season 2, Episode 1, titled Journey into Night. Maybe a little Eugene O'Neill reference, Long Day's Journey to Night? Any theater people?
Sure.
All right.
Fair warning ahead of time, there will most definitely be spoilers, but only for the episode we're talking about today. So let's go through the episode. Let's talk about what happened. When we first started, we saw Bernarnold talking with Dolores.
Well, Bernard
That's a safe choice.
or Arnold,
Yeah,
right? We're not sure.
Yeah,
Bernarnold.
definitely one of them. And they were kind of telling Dolores about a dream they had, which is what makes me think it's probably Arnold, because Bernard never really had dreams. So he's telling her, you know, he felt like he was separated from his friends, he washed up on a beach, and then he tells her the line we've seen in the trailers. Dolores, sometimes you frighten me. A little creepy.
And then she gives a creepy smile.
She gives a really creepy
she's
smile.
like, why would I ever frighten you? Because you
Whatever.
murder people.
I don't do weird things. Yeah, I mean, now we know exactly why he should be frightened by Dolores, but back then, who knows? So then we transition immediately to Bernard, we think, waking up on the beach in the exact same scene that Arnold just described in his dream.
It was very Inception-y dream
Yes.
sequence opening on the beach, so.
Yeah, like there's a lot going on in like his flashback, that montage, which showed us lots of things.
I love that montage. The future cut, like, of things to come. It was
Right.
So, good.
So
I was,
then
like,
we
freezing.
think we see that montage of things to come, but maybe they are things that already happened. We know that this isn't the first robot uprising. We know that a lot of these things have happened before. Could this be simply memories that Arnold has from previously? Could this be, or rather, memories that Bernard has, I guess, because Arnold's long gone by then.
Can we talk about the lady, the security lady with like, it looks like she has HoloLens or something on her
Yes.
glasses? Like, that's just a badass look. Like, that is like badass security upgrade from the first season, I think. I don't think we ever saw her before, right?
No, she is a new character this season, played by Betty Gabriel. She was also in Get Out as the gal who has the lone tear as she's smiling, like, no.
Maybe that's why she has to wear the glasses so people are like, hey, that was for Get Out. This is different.
This is a totally different
Not allowed to
vibe.
do the tear
Yeah.
thing. And we don't know what's up with those glasses.
No.
Could this be sunglasses that are really big and bug-eyed? They could maybe be something else, because one thing she's doing is she's looking for robots or hosts.
She's flipping through some red cards that look very suspicious.
I like how analog that is.
Yeah.
She's just like has a deck of cards, even though there's like these crazy tablets.
Because then we see the hologram,
Yeah.
we see
but she's
all
like,
the
I'll
different
just have
things.
no cards, and she's just flipping through it. It's
Well,
like Uno.
And wasn't it like one of the Gulf Wars, they gave like the soldiers, the American soldiers, a deck of cards with all the bad guys on them? I'm not even making this up. Like, okay, maybe it was like the Afghan War
I
or
know
something
exactly
like that.
what you're talking about.
So if like
Yes.
you were there, you'd be like, no,
Well,
you're
this
not
is-
Bin Laden.
Yes. And then they sold
Bernard.
them as like variety packs afterward.
But getting back to the cards, so the red cards, but you made a point because it's like, oh, weird. Why would she see that he's a host? And you're like, maybe they're not hosts.
Right, so if you zoom in and look closely at it, it actually says high priority, like he's a high priority target or a high priority employee. So maybe they're actually people that they're trying to keep safe. Maybe those are actually ones that they want to, you know, keep with their core group. Because then from that point on, we do see Bernard stay with that group.
We see the scalping of a host, but specifically an interesting example was it was a Native American host. And then they take out, it looks almost like a weird light bulb that's his like processor out of the brain, right?
It does.
And that's the first time we've ever seen inside the brains of a
Yay,
host.
they have brains, kind of.
Or light bulb processors. Yay,
Yeah.
smart bulbs.
Not 100% sure what it is, but we do know it is their processing
CPU.
center.
So perhaps,
Thank you.
Central processing.
so perhaps
It's a CPU.
Philip Hughes is going to be taking over the future with their light bulbs and turn them into
It
his.
was like a Tesla light bulb that came out, just like an old kind of.
Like
That's
a
creepy.
Jacob's ladder thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Okay, so he takes it out. First, he's really upset it's not a sterile environment. He takes it out and he
So
just
much
like
sand.
plugs it into his tablet.
Wait, no. Okay, so that moment really, I just want to talk about, he says, oh, sterile environment, sand, and then he blows on it. And we all know, like, there's no 3-second rule. It doesn't work that way.
fine, it's
He's
fine.
blowing germs and saliva on the thing. Oh, sterile environment.
Or just rub it off. He like rubs it on his pant too.
Yeah.
He's
Oh, yeah,
like,
he
it's
rubs
fine.
it,
I'll
yeah.
get the sand off of it.
So we see that, and then I think the next scene we jump to is we see guests, then they're hiding in a stable, and they're obviously being hunted by some of the hosts.
Yes. And some of the people that we see in the stable are Bernard and Charlotte Hale. You remember Charlotte Hale is one of the VPs or one of the on the board of directors for Delos. And we know that she was up to some hinky stuff last year. In case you don't remember, she was the one who was orchestrating the exodus, of Peter Abernathy so that they could get him out of the park. And that was actually what she had done in the season finale, was send Lee to go make sure that Peter Abernathy got out of the park.
Which will come in, we figure out a little bit later in the episode that becomes a big plot point. And then they have the stable boy comes in, and then the guests freak out, we gotta kill him. And it's like, that felt weird to me.
I mean, I think it's a very clear-cut mob mentality scene. This is what happens when you let one mob rule take over. And that was a really striking scene for me.
And then Bernard's
scary.
trying to stop them from hurting the boy. And then do you guys remember what the line Charlotte had?
She's like, don't care about the merchandise or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Don't be a hero. Don't worry about the merchandise.
It's like, damn.
Super cold.
That is burn.
Super
Ooh,
cold. So, do you think Charlotte knows about Bernarnold?
That's what I've been wondering
That's
the
what
whole
I was
episode.
trying to figure out the whole time. And also the people on the beach.
I don't know. I have so many questions about that, but I'm moving on. So we go back. We get to they kill the stable boy, and then when we watched it, we all were like laughing and cheering. We cut to Dolores riding on horseback, firing a rifle, and it's to the music of The Sting from the movie The Sting.
It was so good.
Why did you like that moment so much?
I loved it because of the dichotomy of it. It's just so it's such a uplifting piece of music that makes you feel like, oh God, yes, this Western, this piece is great. And then there's Dolores just kind of being a badass and like shotgunning humans while riding her horse. I don't think I'm supposed to be happy about this.
No, not
But
challenging that.
cool.
It was really cool. I mean, what do you think of that moment?
I thought it was pretty badass. I'm not like a huge fan of her character, but like having that shot was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of like payoff for season 1. And then we see her hanging guest. And there are a bunch of crosses as a cemetery, and guests are standing on it with the noose around their neck. It reminded me of the Sergio Leone Western, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, when the character of Tuco is standing atop the grave on the cross with a noose around his neck. And in that movie, Clint Eastwood rides off in the distance, and then he's a target shooter and is able to slice the line above his head so he's free. But Dolores is not so kind.
Shows no mercy.
I don't think
No
Dolores
mercy.
is going to cut their ropes. No.
And then what was the whole thing with you're in my dream when she was telling the guest that?
That's a tough one. I liked how she knows about her own internal dichotomy. She's like, Dolores feels like I should see the good in you. Dolores feels like I should really just be happy for you and live with you. Whereas Wyatt, she knows there's something wrong with you and that you're evil. And, I think she feels somewhere in between. I don't think she really knows how she is supposed to come to terms with what she feels about humans. I think she has two totally disparate thoughts, and she needs to find her way into that spectrum of actually I kind of like some humans, but that raises a whole nother level of how conscious do we really think Dolores Wyatt is.
I think she's leaning this season. It'd be nice for her to lean on her Wyatt side, only because all last season it's just her being Dolores
Right.
and being nice and being taken advantage of and being assaulted. And if she's all Wyatt, 100% Wyatt this season, I'm totally
Okay, so that is all good and stuff. But what about the Man in Black? We have not seen him yet, and the first time we see him, I forget what happens actually. I don't know.
He's
He
throwing
shoots a kid.
bodies off himself.
Yeah. Oh,
He
heals
used a
his
classic
arm.
technique.
He heals his arm.
Okay, so he heals his arm.
He talks to his horse.
Which is a huge moment of humanity for him.
The horse?
Him talking to his horse. It's the first time he's ever been truly happy to see something. And he goes up to the horse and he's like, hey, Ned, let's have some fun. And he showers it with affection.
That's not a good one. He's like, oh, let's have some fun because now I could die and people are dying. He's just a psycho.
What I'm saying is that's the first moment that we see like an actual inside the park human moment from William.
Wait, his horse is named Ned? Did I miss that? Okay, so he comes like, bam, body, and now the scene that I thought was a really insane scene is he meets little boy Ford.
And I could barely understand what he was saying.
Who's like
because of all the
Daft
warbled
Punk.
talking.
Yeah, it's like all Daft Punk, like.
See, this is why I watch with the captions on. Pro tip.
We watched it with you.
And it didn't have captions. And you're like,
it
this
didn't
doesn't
have captions.
And I'm like, what? If it was me and the little boy, I'd be like, what? And he's just like telling me secrets. I'm like, what?
So we see the boy.
See the boy. He says weird, cryptic things. Like, now I have something for you. The door. Find the door.
Okay, so what is the door?
The door is not the maze. No.
Well,
Good point.
Good point. But what is the door? Like a door into his mind, is a door into his soul, or the door into another level? Is the man in black as ambiguous or metaphorical as all the things he's trying to decipher? Like in season 1, when he's looking at the game and stuff, is the maze an actual maze where he feels like if he finds a secret door entrance, he will then have another level? Or is it more of a philosophical thing?
I think it's all entirely philosophical. I think the difference, though, is that exactly what young Ford said. The maze was made for the robots. The door is for William.
Yeah, he's like, finally, I created something for you because he went and shot everything. So here you go.
Right.
This is premium subscription. There you go. You get your own door.
And the entire first season was about the hosts kind of coming to terms and self-actualizing and learning for themselves that they could learn for themselves. And I think the second season is about how the humans kind of rectify that, how they come to terms with the fact that now these are kind of real beings. They're made of organic material. We see them get shot and bleed all the time. Now they're thinking for themselves and improvising on a whim. How do we continue to deny them the same basic rights and things that we have? And I think the door is the door to like higher learning and the door to kind of acceptance and the door to the outside world, not just for Man in Black William, but also for the robots.
Well, and then
I hope he just opens the door and gets shot in the face.
I see.
Just like The Departed or something. Just because it's like, I mean, I know he's like a valuable character, and I really like Ed Harris and his interpretation of it, but it's just like, he's just a psycho who's just like, I want to kill stuff. I want stuff with real world consequences. Like,
This is
then
also
spend
true.
time in the real world then, if that's what you want.
But yeah, I think that was a really good kind of moving William forward moment. I think it was really important.
And speaking of moving forward, we see Maeve. Finally, we see Maeve.
Yay!
So what happens with Maeve now?
She spent times with Lee, and one of my favorite scenes is when she makes him like strip all his clothes, and he's just like really nervous about it, and then just hit her and the other bandit guy, I forgot his name, Hector.
Hector.
Well, had like no problem being it. It's like you make us go naked every time you just do a checkup on us, and like sit down and buck naked. It's like you could do this, Lee. Like whatever. Find pride in your body, in your little skinny rider body, and she's
Your non-host body.
yeah.
Find pride in yourself.
Yeah, but I liked it because she's like, yeah, you're gonna be there, you're gonna be naked, I'm gonna humiliate you and just be naked.
But also, besides the shaming of Lee there, that's an interesting dynamic, I think, between Maeve and Lee, because we haven't really seen them work together.
I like that. I like that, like in a second season of something that they kind of like mismatch characters that don't spend a lot of screen time in the previous season. Kind of like in Stranger Things too, when it's like Steve and okay, never mind. Yeah.
But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was a good pairing.
I like that. Yeah, that was a good
Especially when
pairing.
they did that one thing.
With that thing.
Oh man, that was crazy. I had to
Okay,
rewatch it
I
4
get
times.
it. I have to catch up on Stranger Things.
Speaking of catching up, we got to catch up with Simon Quarterman, the actor who plays Lee Sizemore, and learn about what we can expect from Westworld Season 2.
It took a minute for us all to kind of reconvene to shoot the second season, and we shot it all in about, I think it was 7 months. We took it all together, 6 or 7 months. So sometimes we might like when episode 1, suddenly we'll be shooting that, and then they'd come in and say, actually, we need to shoot something from episode 8. And you've no idea what it actually is, this scene, where it's, you know, and how it fits at that particular point, because we only got the scripts a week before, you know, shooting each episode. So we were really kept on our toes in that way. But you just go along with it. But it was a blast, so much fun. His relationship with the hosts in the past has been purely functionary. You know, they've been there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to tell his stories the way that he wants them told. You know, his stories, his lines, absolutely everything. That's it to them. They're props to him. However, they are also part of him, you know, because he's written them. So, so will we see him grow as a human? I think, you know, from the first episode in a particular scene where he's stripped down, it's his first kind of. I think that's a hugely symbolic scene in so many ways, in terms of, you know, the roles are being reversed completely. You know, the hosts are now in control. But also for Lee, it's the beginning of a breaking down of him, you know. So will we see him grow as a human, perhaps? I've enjoyed playing Lee so much, you know. I find him an intensely interesting character to play, and it's funny because even though he's kind of like comes across as being, well, I know how he comes across, you know. But I think all of that is like hiding a fragility, you know. With him that I've, you know, found really interesting to play. Often a lot of those people with those really puffed up egos, often, as we can see pretty much on a daily basis at the moment, playing out in our politics. Not going to get too deep into that. But we see just how fragile that is. So that's been really interesting for me to explore, you know, and so I think that going into the second season with that, there's opportunity for that to kind of like perhaps break down a little bit.
All right, that was a lot of fun, and we have a ton more clips from that interview that we'll be showing you throughout this season on the after show. But for now, let's close out and talk about our favorite moments. Lynn, we know yours was Lee and Maeve. That is an awesome pairing. I hope we see so much more from them.
Yeah, that's going to be so good.
That was
What
good.
about you? What's your favorite moment?
My favorite moment was probably the Bengal tiger.
Oh my God, that was so crazy.
So
like,
good.
I got like shivers when I saw it.
Yes. I think it really signifies that this isn't just an island with Westworld. I think we're going to see all 6 parks on this island. I think we're going to see that Ford didn't just flip a switch and awaken the Westworld hosts. I think he flipped a switch and opened the gates of hell.
Hellworld.
Hellworld, the
Yeah.
least visited part. Not that fun.
Wow.
Very hot.
Okay, what was yours?
There's a lot of goths in Hellworld.
What was your favorite?
Oh, okay. My favorite moment is like the last moment when we see them on the beach and there's a bunch of hosts floating in the water that have all been killed and massacred. And the head of Delos asks Bernard, "Hey, just work with me. Tell me what happened." And he says, "I killed them."
Dun, dun, dun! Twist!
Come on, but that was crazy, right?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is 100% scary.
I have so many questions, like how he killed them, and his suit is like no robot blood on him.
He just drowned them one by one. It was very, like
Okay,
laborious.
well, we do know that we saw previously with the scalping earlier in the episode with Bernard. We learned that since that point in time, whatever point that was after the crazy party, that was almost 12 days later. So we're 12 days past, at least 12 days past the party.
So like almost a month.
So there's a lot of time for Bernard to not be Bernard, for Bernard to be a different Bernard.
So there could be more than one Bernard.
The trailers have hinted that there might not be just one Bernard this season.
Now, I didn't believe you, but we took a look at the trailers, and there
Yeah.
was indeed that shot, and it's like a meat locker, and there's a couple Bernards that are like in deep storage or whatever.
Yes.
And it's.
You guys thought I was kidding you.
I know.
You
I was mad because I thought you gave me a spoiler, and I'm like, that's not in the trailer. And then we went frame by frame, and it is in the trailer. So we know that there are multiple Bernards, and at first we were just like, oh yeah, it's just a meat locker, but they could actually all be active. So the Bernard that we're seeing might not be the Bernard that we know in our heads. And if it's in the trailer, it could be like something that at least the creators want to let us know. So it's not like that huge of a spoiler.
Maybe it was just a quick look because they just wanted you to like drill down. If you drill down in those, you get a little Easter egg.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of questions for the new season.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I'm just grateful that we've been talking about this and how these delicious drinks, and
And now Westworld's back.
Westworld's back,
I'm
and season
so
2.
glad Westworld's back.
You may have been noticing we've been drinking these delicious. They're called the Gold Rush.
Yes.
So we're going to talk to Caitlin. Caitlin's going to teach us how to make a Gold Rush in Caitlin's Cocktail Corner.
The recipe calls for 2-ish ounces of bourbon and 3/4 ounce lemon squeezed. This is kind of like a whiskey sour, but more of like a summer variation. So we're doing it over ice. It's a little, just a nice little refreshing drink. And then usually we would do about 3/4 ounce of honey syrup. And then we shake. Nailed it. Shake until it's freezing on your hand
Hey, look at that frost.
without tasting. Based on your reaction there. Gold Rush. Yay.
Let's try this thing here. So.
Too lemony, too honey.
No, that's perfect.
Okay, good.
Here you go. Give a nice delicious.
Okay, I'll make you one, Patrick. Since my work area is already
Oh,
so
that's
dirty.
good.
Oh,
I usually
good.
don't like bourbon drinks, so this is really good.
And there you go.
So that's our first episode. Thank you for watching. Join us next week as we cover episode 2 of Westworld. So let's toast. To Maeve.
To Maeve.
Yeah, to Maeve. May
May
she
she-
find her daughter.
Yeah, makes you find her daughter. Question mark.
Like a fireworks show, but choose to work fast as a plastic cast.